Against the Ropes podcast.
Contra las cuerdas.
Against the Ropes podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. AtR podcast back in the building. Another live podcast. Chris, welcome back to the show. Welcome, mates.
Yeah, and I know the people from Australia are watching this. It's 2:28 right now, Gio. It's a big weekend for them, but yeah, let's get into it, Gio. Big fight in Arizona and Vegas. What do you want to start with?
All right, man. Look, let's go ahead and start with. Let's go chronological order. We got some action Friday. Of course, Saturday we got two big events as well. You know, really all the networks competing, Chris. We spoke about this in recent podcasts. You know, ESPN, DAZN, Showtime. Personally, I think ESPN probably has the most stacked card, but possibly the biggest name, surprisingly, might be Tszyu out of all the guys that we're going to speak of. You know, a guy from Australia now fighting in Las Vegas. But let's rewind a little bit. Friday, as I said, in chronological order, we do have Oscar Valdez, Liam Wilson, and a stacked card. So let me go ahead and show you what's on that card. Let me see. I believe it's this one right here. Look, man. Seniesa Estrada, Yocasta Valle for all the marbles. Lindolfo Delgado, Carlos Sanchez, as you see it there on your screens. Raymond Murataya, Solizani, Ndongeni, Alan Garcia, Gonzalo Fuensalida, Richard Torres Jr., Donald Hainesworth. Man, what's up with these names, Chris? Why can't they just have simple names? Man, they're testing me over here, huh? Ricardo Rubalcaba against Abner Hernandez Molina. Emiliano Vargas against Nelson Hampton. Sergio Leon Rodriguez against Sanny Doverson. And Art Barrera Jr. against Kevin Soto. Man, stacked card. Friday, Glendale, Arizona. ESPN Plus, Top Rank, Bob Arum. Chris, where do we begin?
Man, well, like you said, that's probably the most stacked card. When I pulled up the updated version, you could see it from top to bottom. You know, champions, crossroad fights, up and comers. You know, guys that people are want to see how they develop. That top rank card is stacked. You're right. Tszyu is probably the biggest name. That's probably the one guy that has the most upside when it comes to fighting. Other championship caliber fighters. But yeah, that top rank card in Arizona. Stack.
Yeah, man, and let's begin with we have a couple friends of the show here, man. Let's begin with Raymond Murataya. As you guys see there, his ranking, it says number 9. He's climbing up the ranks, man, at 135, 19-0. Let's see how he's coming into this fight. 19-0, 16 knockouts, 27 years old. He's hitting his prime, and we know they're asking for the big fights. We know they had some. I think the biggest statement fight was this one, probably right here, Nakatila. They stopped him. I mean, it wasn't even a competitive one, Chris. It was 2 rounds. After that, he beat Diego Torres Nunez, 18-0 he was. And that was a very good fight as well. That ended in a TKO for our boy, Raymond Muratara. Danger.
Yeah, and like you said, Gio, we were talking about it before the podcast. His opponent, we know that we've seen that name, we've heard that name before. We went through the box rec. This is the guy that Arnold Barbosa just fought, earlier this year. So, for a guy like Raymond to be fighting these kinds of guys, already, much respect to Zolani. First of all, he's one of those journeymen that, if somebody needs a fighter, somebody needs somebody to test these guys. He's that type of fight. So a lot of respect to Zolani, but yeah, he's in there with a guy like Raymond Morataya, and I mean, if you notice with certain fights like these, Gio, sometimes the up and coming guys, the fresher guys, make easier work than the guy at the top right now. So I'm expecting Raymond Morataya, just like you mentioned with previous fights. I expect him to make a statement using Zolani there.
Yeah, and the gentleman you speak of just was defeated by Arnold Barboza Jr. in January 6th of this year. So Big Bro not happy with the matchups. He says these guys aren't prospects anymore. They should be having more tough competition. Same with Lindolfo here. Lindolfo against Carlos Sanchez. Lindolfo looking good, man. Looking good. 19-0, 14 KOs. He's also fighting at the RGBA. There you see it from Nuevo León, Mexico. 29 years old. He's coming off a win against Luis Hernandez Ramos. He's fighting decent opposition, but I think he's another guy as well who sooner rather than later will have to step up at that 140-pound division. Lindolfo Delgado. But look, good KO ratio, 14 knockouts, 19 wins. So, we'll see if he can get another one against this gentleman right here, Carlos Sanchez. 25 wins, 2 losses, 19 KOs, 28 years old for Sanchez. And let's see how he's coming into the fight. His last fight was in December of 2023. He's coming off a win. He had a loss before that in September 2023. So, I think there's another, should be a tough fight for Delgado, but I think he needs a knockout. I think he's at that stage. He needs a knockout.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with Big Bro to an extent. These guys, we know how good they can be, and he's getting up there where he should be fighting better and better competition. Of course, we know Top Rank. They kind of take a little bit of their time to build them up. There's a give and take when it comes to that. Gotta be patient sometimes, but sometimes it's getting up there with Lindolfo. But he's a great talent. Like you said, he has great punching power. I think after this fight, and like you said, if he gets a knockout, once he makes a statement, I think he's getting up there to start challenging for the top positions in that division.
Yeah, and obviously those two right there are guys to keep an eye on. Raymond Murataya and Lindolfo Delgado, as I said, out of the RGBA. But also we have our good friend of the show here, Alan Garcia, 11-0. I saw him, when was it? Last week, Friday, when they had their media workout there at the Wild Card. 21 years old. He's ready. Chris, he said, he said he's at 95% right now. He didn't say he was 100. He didn't lie. He said, I'm 100 when I rehydrate, So, but, he's ready to go. He looks in great shape. They're, Coach Chief fighters, always on weight. They don't struggle to make weight, man. They eat good food. But it's healthy food, Chris. And they, this guy, he's big. He's listed at 5'9". He's probably a little taller than that. But he does not struggle to make 140. I think he's been fighting at recently there 136.5 was his last fight. So he's around 135, 140. 140, he makes it comfortably. 135 now, it would have to be a fight against a tougher opponent, to obviously start making those fights happening. But ultimately, 135 is where he wants to be. He says probably won't be there for too long. But yeah, bright future for Kid Kansas, 11-0, 9 KOs. Going against Gonzalo Fuenzadilla from Chile, 12-3. He's been stopped 3 times. He last got stopped against Mark Castro in November of 2023. So I think another opportunity to shine for Kid Kansas, Alan Garcia.
Yeah, not to put so much pressure, but I think anything less than a knockout is what people expect. Like you said, 19, 20 years old, under the top ranked banner, you want to show out every single time, especially these early fights. As he starts to pick up and put these fights together, bigger name opponents, going the distance, gelling even more with his coach, which we know he has a phenomenal relationship. But yeah, man, I can't wait to see I'm expecting a knockout. Nothing less than that, Gio.
Hey, expect a lot of knockouts in this card, Chris. Many, many knockouts, because we also have Emiliano Vargas is on there, who has been looking good. Emiliano Vargas now 8-0. Is going against a guy who's 10-8, Chris. So perfect opportunity to get another KO. He has 7 and 8 victories, 19 years old. Emiliano Vargas, coming off of a series of knockouts. He has what? Let's see. He only got a decision in his. Wait, I don't see it here. Where is it? Right here. A decision. What is that? His third fight. Ever since then, he's just been getting KOs. He fought in 2023. He fought 5 times. So they want to keep him active. You see him usually on those big undercards. He's active. He's been getting KOs. He's young, 19 years old, and we know these guys don't mind fighting. Chris, our boy Julio is fighting again. He just fought a couple weeks ago. We'll get into that though.
Yeah, guys like Emiliano Vargas. I mean, people expect them to win. Like that's job number one, expectation number one. But now it's like, what do you do to make the fan that paid to see you? Maybe they might just see you this one time. Like, what do you do to make them remind you, make them be like, hey, I want to follow you? So whether it's the entrance, whether it's the music, whether it's trying to steal the night, even from the main events, if you have a hellacious knockout, make them remember you. So this is what these guys have to do. Again, they're expected to get that W. That's
it's a given.
Number one.
Yes,
that's a given. But what are you doing to make me remember you?
100%. Emiliano Vargas. We also have Richard Torres Jr. knockouts as well, Chris. Heavyweight action here. 8 knockouts and 8 wins. 24 years old for Richard Torres Jr. His opponent is 18-8. So again, Chris, kind of the same thing, right? We're expecting a KO here.
Yeah. Richard Torres, I like this kid. I mean, obviously he's not a huge heavyweight, more of a compact heavyweight, but hey, this is the era where, obviously you use other tangibles to leverage that. We've seen a guy like Usyk, smaller guy, but look what he's doing to these big heavyweights. So, that's something, that's a motivation he could take. But I like this kid, good kid, funny. I've seen him on social media. He's always entertaining. So he's good for boxing. Keep winning, keep making statements.
He's listed at 6'2", about 230, 235. About Usyk size, you can say. Crazy enough. That's kind of small in today's heavyweight division. But yeah, a lot of talent there. As I said, Chris, expect a lot of KOs, man. Expect a lot of KOs. And look, we can go straight into the undisputed bout, Chris, because this a lot of people I know mentioned that maybe it should have been the main event. Obviously, as Yoka said, it's Oscar Valdez's home. He's the guy there. He's the cash cow, so no surprise that was the main event, Oscar Valdez, Leon Wilson. But hey, look, they're fighting for all the marbles here. Yokasta Valle 30-2, 9 knockouts. She's listed as at 5'4". Chris, I saw her in person. She looked a lot shorter than that. I was surprised. And then yeah, she's 31 years old, and she's coming into this fight off a series of victories. You know, she hasn't taken a loss in a while, as you guys can see there. All the green on the right side. She had 2 losses in a row, 2017 and then 2018. And she mentioned these. She thought that she got robbed, one in Japan, one in Germany, and those are her 2 lone losses there. Yokasta Valle, and on the other hand, Siniesa Estrada, 25-0, 9 knockouts, also 31 years old. She's listed at 5'2", and undefeated, Chris, undefeated. She's the favorite. We'll show you guys the poll. But you know, I think most people will consider her the favorite. She has 2 belts. Yokasta has 2. Siniesa's last fight was last summer, July, and then she got a unanimous decision there. She probably has the better wins. You know, Marilena Esparza's name there stands out, but I think all that's gonna go out the window, Chris, on fight night. You know, we know Coach G's gonna have a good plan ready, and we've heard the back and forth, Chris. I don't know if you've been following the story. ESPN has been, you know, putting a lot of videos out there, a lot of interviews. They're really hyping up this fight, and it should be a good one, undisputed.
Yeah, let me start by saying that I feel like this one should have been the main event. I completely agree. I think it's been getting the most kind of buzz. I've heard a little bit about Valdez, Belliam, but I think this one is driving the narrative of, you know, excitement. Obviously, both champions, both with 2 belts, both with true animosity. We've seen it in the previews and in the interviews. They really don't like each other. You know, like again, there's this whole back and forth between former promoters. You know, trainers not training one fighter, going the other way. So there's true animosity. When you look at them, when you see their box rec, when you see their accolades, they really are the best 1-2 out there. I know we have a little bit of a bias, but I try to see this. I try to, you know, see this as impartially as I can. I do agree that Siniesa is the favorite right now. She does have, like you said, you know, more experience with high level fighters. But I think Siniesa also has some intangibles that kind of even out, you know, the arena. She is busier than Siniesa the last couple of years. I've never seen Siniesa train, but I've seen Yoka train, and it's very impressive. So again, I feel like there's intangibles there on both sides where it's going to be more even than what the polls have shown. But again, we won't know until fight night. So I'm excited, Gio. I'm anxious. I can't wait to see this fight. Again, I feel like it's going to be less of a boxing match, and it's going to break out into a fight.
Yeah, and we'll show you guys the poll in a second, but let's go to some comments real quick. Shout out to our guy Jess checking in, Big Bro checking in, Derek checking in on the East Coast, man. Almost midnight over there. Salute to you. Jess says, let's go Estrada. Big Bro says, would like to see Yokasta win, especially with Siniesa taking it personal and getting a little disrespectful with her talk. But I think Siniesa wins, though. Estrada gonna win, but it goes 12. Says Jess, love her confidence. And then he also added some comments there at the RGBA. We'll go back to those. But yeah, Chris, I know Siniesa mentioned that, you know, she's been wanting all the titles for a while now. She's been having Yoka, you know, in her radar. And she also mentioned Coach G, who she says they've known each other for a long time. And in her eyes, it's kind of like, oh, she picked her side. You know, she picked the side and now she's the enemy type thing. So, yeah, she's taking personal shots. Yokasta has stated over and over again, this is nothing personal. It's all business. I want the belt. She wants the belt. You know, she's praised Siniesa. And, you know, I agree with Big Bro. Siniesa getting a little, you know, disrespectful at times, a little immature. You know, Chris, I didn't even know she didn't speak Spanish. Like in all the interviews, I haven't heard one Spanish word come from her mouth. But yeah, like you said, I'm gonna be a little biased. I'm hoping Yoka wins. I know it's gonna be difficult, but we'll see. We'll see. You know, Siniesa obviously an explosive fighter, quick. You know, she has good experience. She's fought the better opponent, so it's gonna be a tough fight. Uh, but I kind of gave my prediction. I'm gonna go with Yoka decision, even though it's gonna be tough. Keep in mind she's fighting on a top ranked card. She is a Golden Boy fighter, so it's gonna be difficult. But that's gonna be my prediction. And Chris, hey, we have a lot of action this weekend. We can insert these in our quinielas, Chris. We'll insert Siniesa, obviously, and then the big fights, Tszyu, Fundora, um, Valdez, Wilson. We'll insert, what's the other one? Zurdo Ramirez was fighting for a cruiserweight title. We'll get those, and then we'll show you guys the results next week. But I'm going to go with Yokasta, Chris. I don't know if you want to give your prediction now or you want me to show you the poll real quick. I don't want you to be swayed by the people.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna let the people give their predictions, and then we'll go to the polls. Yeah, again, it's a tough fight. It's a tough fight for Yoka Valle. We know how talented Siniesa is. She is there to be hit, but she also hits a lot. She has good technical skills. Maybe one of the most technical fighters out there in women's boxing right now. And you're right, Gio. I think even if we didn't know Yoka, let's say we came in just meeting these two girls, these two fighters. It's very easy to root for Yoka based on the humbleness. It's very easy to be turned off by Siniesa. You know, just the brashness. You know, just a little bit disrespectful there. So I know there's a lot of unless you've gone for Siniesa from the get go. I feel like there's a lot of people pulling for Yoka Valle, and it almost feels like it's, you know, people are like 60-40 favoring I want to say Siniesa, just because she's undefeated. She's never lost, never tasted defeat, always found a way to win. And most importantly, I think she has really strong willpower. You know, you can see it. You can see it in the interview. You can see it in her eyes. She just, you know, she got a little bit of that mama mentality where she just her will cannot be, you know, it cannot be turned. So I think that's why a lot of people are favoring her in a sense, aside from the skill set. But again, I think Yoka Valle has the better corner. She has the momentum. She has increased her stamina and her output, and she's learned from her mistakes. So I think it's a very, very close fight. Hopefully, we get that on fight night. But man, it goes a distance. It goes a distance.
That's not a hot take, Chris. That's not a hot take.
I'm gonna say.
Give us the hot take.
I'm gonna say split decision, Yoka Valle. I think she makes the adjustments in that corner. I think one judge will see it Iniesa's way, and two will see it Yoka Valle's way. So I'm gonna say Yoka Valle, split decision.
All right, we're both going for Yoka. Look, the vast majority of the YouTube audience going with Iniesta, as you said. Of course, she's more popular. She's from LA. She's undefeated. She's the Mexican American. You know, out of 341 votes, 73% are voting for Estrada. Only 27% for Yoka. And we can go to some of the comments here. I'm Mexican. I'm going for Valle. Siniesa isn't as hood as she thinks she is. One person says, I know Valle is sexier, but they're both cuties. Nothing to do with the fight, but they're making their voices be known, Chris. So there you have it. That's the poll. We're both predicting Valle close fight. But look, 73%, vast majority for Siniesa Estrada. Not surprised, but I think Valle, I think she's going to need a volume punching, smart, accurate punching. Hopefully they can put together a good game plan. You know, the only thing that worries me for Siniesa Estrada is, man, one of her recent fights, she got a KO in 7 seconds, Chris. That does nothing for you. That does not prepare you for a fighter like Yokasta Valle. So, yeah, that's the only thing that worries me. I think Yokasta, as of recent, has had a little bit of tougher fights. But, yeah, we'll see, man. It's going to be a good fight. Undisputed.
I think a lot of people that voted that way must have seen that clip, and they're just voting based on that. Again, this is a true fighter that, you know, she has in front of her. You know, one of the best tanks in all of women's boxing, in my opinion. You know, we've gonna cover her. I've covered her even men, they get impressed by how hard she works. And so, again, hopefully that Tink is able to, see her have an advantage. But again, it's a very tough assignment. Siniesa isn't a champion and isn't undefeated for no reason. So she is the goods. We'll see if the layoffs, if the, course of inactivity, in spurts, plays in favor of Yokabaye. But yeah, man, again, I feel like that should have been the main event, or if anything, make it two co-main events. But again, it's the fight I feel like people want to see more of. We'll get to the main event right now, but again, this is for all the belts, all the marbles at minimum weight, and yeah, man, it's gonna be a great fight.
Let's go to some comments here. Chris throws Mamba mentality around so loosely. SMH, that's big, bro. How you Hispanic or Latin? Not know a single word in Spanish, especially being from LA. SMH. Tiniesa just clearly has better skills and more tools. He says skills pay the bills, as they say.
Yeah, man. Again, I know she's a good counter puncher, Joe. I don't know if you've seen a lot of Siniesa stuff. Like she's a good puncher, but I just see that she's also there to be hit. She gets tagged a lot. So if Coach G and in that corner, if they can capitalize on that, and again, it's hit and don't get hit. So again, we'll see what kind of judges rule. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little controversy. I feel like there might be, but yeah, again, it's gonna be a great crowd. Like you said, Gio, she turns off the crowd a lot, so there's a lot of people that are gonna be pro Yokabaye in that arena. But again, I just want to see the best woman win, and hopefully at the end of that fight, maybe a rubber match, maybe a rematch and a rubber match.
Yeah, I'm hoping they get paid, Chris. I don't know if you saw the purses for this show or not. But we can look it up. We can look it up to see if we find something. Last comment here. Jess says Estrada has the boxing IQ. He says it's gonna be a good fight. And Chris, look, the chat is lit. The chat is talking about it. We're talking about it. It's not often that we get excited for a big women's fight like this. You guys know me. For one reason or another, I haven't been the biggest fan of women's boxing, but as of late, I mean, very, very good fights. I'm excited for this one. I think I'm more excited for this one than the main event. So it's going to be a very good co-main that could have easily been the main event.
Yeah, no, again, and obviously we know, you guys know that we have personal friendship there with Coach G. So dude, I'm excited for her. She's getting, we know that they've been working, 3+ decades, and she's barely getting her flowers now. But hey, man, like that's something that we as fans, as friends, we aspire them to get these fights, these big fights, these life changing purses. So dude, again, we know you, Joe, you've seen her. We know how hard she works. Coach G, she is a trainer, nurse, teacher, cook, all these things, man. And sometimes you're pinching pennies, man, trying to feed this whole stable of fighters. So again, we can't wait for her to put out come fight night. And again, it's gonna be a tough assignment, tough fight. Let's see what Coach G, what game plan she brings come Friday night.
Yeah, and as I said, I was there at the wild card last Friday. She has our good friend Alan Garcia also on that undercard. So, we know she's staying busy. We know this is probably the biggest fight of her career, I would say. Undisputed. It doesn't get bigger than that. So, we know, obviously, when you have two fighters on one card, I mean, it's difficult. Look at Robert Garcia. I mean, he does it quite often, but it's not easy, man. It's not easy. Robert frequently has help of other trainers too. For example, when Raymond Morataya fights, his dad is his main trainer. When Virgil Ortiz fight, his dad is his main trainer during the camps. Robert, of course, is the face of it because he's the more popular guy, and you see him in the ring and all that stuff during the fights. But he gets a lot of help too. So, Coach G staying busy. Two big fights on this card. Obviously, one undisputed. Alan's officially first fight with Top Rank since he's been signed. He's fought twice already there on ESPN, but this is his first one officially signed. So, man, exciting stuff, man. Exciting stuff. And then don't forget our guy, Raymond Murataya, who's top 10 at 135. We know he's coming, Chris. It's a matter of time. He's knocking on the door. Shout out to our guy Puro Golpe. You know what it is, man. He's, like I said, top 10 at 135 is danger, Chris. Is danger.
Yeah. And like you said, you went over there to their open workout. Obviously, I know that they were working hard and you were getting a little B-roll. But I know you must have chatted her up without giving too much away, Gio. Without giving the X's and O's. Like, what was her mindset? Did she tell you anything? Was there anything that she's she's preparing for in Siniesa Estrada?
Look, coach and Yoka seem ready. They were in a good positive mood. You know, they were relaxed, and you know that's why I feel like they're gonna give a good fight. You know, I feel like you see it in fighters when they're a little scared, when sometimes you think, oh man, the bright lights might get to them. You know, Yokasa's been fighting in stadiums in Costa Rica. Chris, she's a star. Just the way she speaks to the media, the way she treats people, you don't always see that, and you see the contrast there with Siniesa. She seems a little bratty, a little kind of entitled, you know, a little disrespectful, and Yoka is the complete opposite. So she seemed very relaxed, smiling, joking with the media. Same with Coach G. They know this is a big moment, and I think they're going in there with the attitude of win or lose. We're gonna give it our best, and you know, I think that's what gives me confidence that, you know, they're gonna go in there with no pressure. All pressure is on Siniesa. You know, she's the one who's been talking. She's fighting on her network, her promotional company. She's considered the champion. So the pressure is on her. It's not on Yoka and Coach G.
Yeah. And let me just say, Gio, I've met Siniesa. I've interviewed her. You know, when she used to do commentary with the Latin Snake, her and him would always give us interviews, and dude, she was a sweet girl. So I was a little surprised that she was coming up like, you know, this high energy, very disrespectful in a sense. But I mean, again, it is personal. Again, there's things that go in, and you know, behind the lights, you know, a trainer that you wanted to train you not go your way. Yeah, it's gonna feel some type of way. So I see a lot of passion. I see a lot of, you know, anger, and you know, this could play into Yoka Vallez's game plan. So again, we'll see how Siniesta handles, you know, those emotions. Again, it's normal to get emotional. We've seen it with other fighters, and we've seen how that comes back and bites them. But we'll see if that plays into Yoka's favor, or if Siniesa is able to, you know, control those and stick to the game plan.
And look, from what I've noticed, like obviously some comments can get under your skin. From what I've noticed, they haven't bothered Yoka or Coach at all. I haven't heard Coach say one word about Siniesa. Obviously, as we said, she's known her for a long time. I remember a couple years ago, she was mentioning, hey, you know, that fight's eventually going to happen, you know, and it's going to be tough because I know Siniesa, but, you know, eventually they're going to clash. So she kind of knew it all along. And as far as I know, I haven't heard her say a word about Siniesa or her team. You know, they're just kind of going in there as all business. And same with Yoka. She doesn't, when I was there, the whole 2 hour and a half, 2 hours, she didn't really say much about Siniesa. So they're worried about themselves. So, you know, it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight, man. Don't miss it. Friday, ESPN Plus, March 29th.
Yeah, you know, thanks for reminding me, Joe. Yeah, I remember years back, they're like, hey, that's a fight that's going to happen. I don't know if we should do that. It's kind of coming. It's coming back now.
Yeah.
I remember years back, I was like, hey, coach, either way, you guys are going to get paid. She gets paid. You get paid. You know, that's what the sport's about, right? So, yeah, I think that kind of like, she made it like, okay, yeah, of course. But yeah, no, that was who she was talking about. Man, again, it's the biggest fight of, I think, both of their careers to date. So again, the winner of this one, the doors will open for even bigger fights. So and bigger pay-per-view. So hey, again, all love to both of these women. Like you said, Gio, we normally don't get excited about, you know, women's fights as much, but this one warrants that.
And let me go a step further and add this, and I hope Coach G doesn't mind me saying this, but I even remember in like podcasts or interviews with Yoka with herself, she would even ask us like, please don't ask me about Siniesa. And she always used to say, because I know her, you know, I don't want anything to come off as disrespectful. I know eventually they're probably going to fight. So she would tell I know she told me a few times, like straight up, like, can you just not ask me about that? Because she kind of knew what was gonna happen eventually, where both of them were gonna be the top two, and they're gonna have to fight. So, um, but yeah, hey, it happens. It creates a an interesting storyline, and we saw when Yoka went onto the ring after the Siniesa fight, and Siniesa was calling her and Coach G out, and as I said, they've kept it respectful on the Yoka team. We'll see, how it goes, inside the ring and then after the fight too. But yeah, it's gonna be an exciting fight, man. Let the best woman win.
Yeah, and just to finish this off, Joe, before we move on, the last great women's fight that I saw and that many people saw was Katie Taylor against Amanda Serrano. So man, I'm hoping we get something similar to that. If we get something close to that, something as competitive as back and forth, both taking shots, both dishing out. I mean, again, it's a great atmosphere there in Arizona. Nothing but Hispanic crowds. So a fight is gonna break out with all these emotions. The roar of the crowd, back and forth. I can see a great fight breaking out.
Like in the ring or in the crowd, Chris?
Hey, you never know. You've seen a couple fights in the crowd down there in Arizona, so you never know.
All right, well, there you have it, man. That's ESPN Top Rank. I'm excited for this. I'm gonna try to watch all the fights because, like I said, a lot of young talent on there, a lot of future champions, man. When you talk about Emiliano, when you talk about Alan Garcia, when you talk about Raymond Murataya, and I think Richard Torres Jr. is developing him well too. Like I've been watching his fights. He hasn't really been hit, Chris. He's doing a good job of, being slick. He's a southpaw, good power, and when he hurts his opponent, they're out of there. So, yeah. Don't forget Lindolfo's on there as well. I know Jess had some good comments here. Lindolfo's a cool dude, always showing my son little things in boxing. And Jess's son trains, also at the RGBA, so he gets to see all those guys: Raymond, Virgil, Jose Ramirez. Jess obviously still in the amateurs, young. But to be able to see all these guys train and how they work, it's got to be a tremendous experience, and we hear nothing but good things from our guy Jess too. He says all these guys are cool and very supportive, so that's cool to hear.
Yeah, I don't think there's any surprise there. I mean, those guys were once little Jess's age, so I mean, they're just passing on the knowledge. I'm sure they see themselves, in those kids, and now they're pros, and now they're getting close to contendership status. So again, yeah, shout out to all those guys. Man, they're just like us, man. Again, they see kids and they want to pass on that knowledge. But yeah, man, let's get to the main event, Gio. Liam Wilson, your boy from down under, against Oscar Valdez. Man, this is a crossroads fight. In my opinion, Oscar Valdez, I think in the last 3 fights, 2 losses. He's almost, it's been a minute since he's been in that high mountain. Since that big knockout over Chell. I think a lot of people are starting to write him off a little bit. What are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, look, obviously the highest point of his career came in 2021. The knockout of Miguel Berchelt, who was 38-1 at the time, looked untouchable at 130. Valdez hurt him early in the fight and then stopped him in the 10th. After that, he struggled against Conceição. Conceição was undefeated, an Olympian medalist for Brazil. Struggled in that one, got a unanimous decision. And then April 30th, 2022, that's when he lost to Shakur in a fight that wasn't close. And then he bounced back a little bit there in the rematch against Adam Lopez. If you guys remember, in the first fight, he got dropped against Adam Lopez. So, he came back and won a fairly one-sided fight, you can say, against Adam. Adam, also friend of the show, shout out to him. And then, of course, the loss, the big one that you speak of, was the one against Navarrete, right? He lost the unanimous decision. One-sided. Navarrete looks strong. He's now at 135. This fight was at 130, and we also got some news about that belt. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But he hasn't fought since then. That fight against Navarrete, and now he's facing Liam Wilson, who, man, gave Navarrete a run for his money and then some, Chris. He dropped Navarrete, hurt him badly. Navarrete resorted to spitting out his mouthpiece, bought himself some time. He survived, ended up stopping Liam Wilson, but hey, don't sleep on Liam, man. I'm gonna show you the poll. I feel like most people are voting for Valdez, but don't sleep on the Aussie, man. Shout out to our guy Kangaroo Boxing if he's I don't think he's in the chat, but he might be watching the replay. You can't sleep on the Australian Liam Wilson.
Yeah, I think that's the thing he's got for himself. A lot of people don't know him. I before the podcast, I was like, is he from Aussie or Australia? Is he from the UK? So a lot of people don't know him outside of that. That fight with Navarrete. He is a big guy, 5'9.5", very big for this weight class. Like you mentioned, he hurt a guy in Navarrete, a guy that easily defeated Oscar Valdez. So even though Oscar does have the name recognition, he's got the crowd, he's got the titles, in those previous weight classes. This guy is big. This guy can hurt you. If he can hurt the guy that beat you, he can certainly hurt you. So again, you cannot overlook him. We got to fight the right game plan. Navarrete tried to mix it up with the bigger guy, and we saw what happened. So again, it's a much tougher assignment than on paper. But I expect a good fight back and forth from these two guys. And again, in Arizona, in a predominantly Mexican crowd, I feel like that fight is gonna break out.
Yeah, and you see Wilson 2 wins in 2023 after that Navarrete defeat. He fought twice in Australia, so now challenging for the interim world title. Chris, I'm not going to say the name of the organization because I don't support these interim titles, but what I'm reading as of lately is this is for an interim title. However, it can turn into a real title, Chris, depending on what Navarrete does. Navarrete right now 135. So if he decides to stay up there, then the winner of this fight may be elevated to a real champion. So this is a big fight, important fight. As you said, Liam Wilson has the size advantage. I believe he has a power advantage as well. 28 years old, younger than Valdez. There you see it, 13-2, 7 KOs. Man, look, he could have easily put Navarrete away. Navarrete was seriously hurt in that fight. Didn't get it, but man, that would have been a shocker. Valdez, 33 years old. You would think that this is his last big chance at making another run, possibly winning a title and making a couple defenses if he is able to win.
Yeah, I say call it now, Gio. Call this the title. I don't see a guy like Navarrete going back down. Like, let's say Oscar wins, I don't see him being motivated to go and get that fight on with Valdez when he mopped him, in that first fight. And I don't think he wants to smoke with Liam again. I think he learned from that one. I think he knows it's a one and done. Let's move on to other things. So unless Liam follows him, to these other divisions, but I see Navarrete vacating, that belt at 130, and so I think the winner of this fight eventually will get elevated to full status, and I think they know that, and I think a guy like Liam Wilson knows this might be his best shot to win a title, so it's now or never.
It's now or never, and man, let's go to the poll. Let's put the poll up because I'm a little torn in this one, man. I think, as Big Bro said, upset alert. This can easily be an upset. I'll show you here. The YouTube audience doesn't seem to think so. 358 votes, 84% Valdez. No surprise there. You see the highlighted name. That's who I voted for on the poll. Let's go to some comments here and see what the people were saying. Wilson by TKO says Jesus. Shout out to Jesus. I don't see him in the live chat, but shout out to him. Valdez ain't the same since he's been off the sauce. One person says Navarrete went life and death with Wilson. Navarrete beat Valdez easy. Wilson beats Valdez. So we got some mixed comments, but the vote strongly on Valdez's side. 84% out of the nearly 400 votes, Chris. Does that sway your opinion at all? As I said, I showed you my vote there. But I'm still going back and forth, not gonna lie.
Hey, wait, Joe, I didn't see the screen, Joe. Who'd you vote for?
I put Wilson. I put Wilson.
Dang, okay. You know what? I see that 84%, and normally I don't go against the grain. Like we've said before, I think we have a very, very knowledgeable boxing fans here. But man, when I see these kinds of like these slanted kind of polls or these odds, that makes me want to drop a 20, Gio. So man. I don't want to go against my peoples, but I'm gonna say upset alert, man. I'm gonna say upset alert. I'm gonna say that Liam Wilson knockdown of Navarrete was not a fluke. I want to say that there's a reason why he caught him, and I want to say that the Oscar Valdez team say they're not overlooking, but I know they know it's not an easy fight, but yeah, I'm gonna say Liam Wilson. I'm gonna say Liam Wilson upset. I'm taking that.
Well, look, this is a tough one for me. You guys are gonna literally hear my brain think out loud on this one because, as I said, I casted my vote for Liam Wilson. I think that poll was a couple days ago, but I don't know, man. This fight could go many ways. I think Valdez with the Canelo team, he's a more responsible fighter. He moves his head a little more now. He doesn't get too reckless as before compared to before. And I think that can play to his advantage. I think El Vaquero Navarrete maybe was a little too overconfident in this one, got caught, kind of woke him up a little bit, resorted to some veteran tactics there to survive, and then came back and he knew he had to put Wilson away or else it was going to be a tough fight. Styles make fights, I think. Crazy enough, I think Valdez, if he decides to box, I think that can be very successful for him. And man, I don't want to change my vote, but this is tough, man. He's in his backyard. He's in his backyard. I can see him getting caught though and hurt. I can see him getting caught and hurt. I'm gonna stick with Valdez, Chris. I'm gonna switch it up live on the pod. Yeah, I just think he has everything in his favor. Liam Wilson, I believe last time was his first fight against Vaquero in the U.S. As we said, he had a lot of success. But he ended up getting stopped. They stopped the fight. Man, this is a tough one. I think it goes 12 though. I don't think they put each other away. I'm gonna go Valdez decision, but oh man, not too confident in this one.
Yeah, I'm not confident in mine either. Of course, like you said, like it's his hometown, home crowd. He may decide to bring out the blueprint against Pernell once again. Decide to box again. If it's that Valdez, then I'm gonna take it out. But if it's the Valdez, then I think that the crowd is gonna get to him. I think he's in a bit of a crossroads. I think that Shakur fights zapped a lot of confidence out of him. It's not good to take another L. After that against Navarrete, a guy that was even though he's in stature taller, but he was coming up. So I think the confidence is not as high as it once was, and I think a big guy like Liam Wilson will pick an upset here. So I'm gonna stick to my decision. I might be wrong, but yeah, I'm gonna take Wilson for the upset.
Yeah, and Wilson, he's coming off, as I said, 2 victories. One of his opponents was undefeated, 12-0, and then the other one was 15-2. Now, he got decisions in both. But yeah, of course, as you see here, Navarrete down in round 4. That was the big moment. And Yeah, man, he showed good chin against Navarrete. Navarrete had to work very, very hard to try to break him down. And at the end, it was a stoppage, Chris. It's not like he got knocked out. It was a stoppage. But you got to give Valdez, Valdez's chin some credit, too. I mean, he took tremendous shots against Navarrete, but he hung around and he went, he survived. So, yeah, this is a tough fight and a great, great start to the weekend for boxing. This fight, the whole card, really.
Let me just say, Gio, I wouldn't be surprised if Oscar gets a knockout. I honestly, that would kind of revive his career a little bit because, again, since like we mentioned, since that Chubb moment, the last it's always about what have you done for me lately, and Oscar has taken 2 L's out of 3. So, hey, this is a big moment for him in front of his home crowd, in front of his people to get back into people's imagination. So it's a good fight, man. Good main event. I expect a good firefight.
Yeah, and Big Bro says 84% is preposterous. Wilson is bigger and stronger. This is a 50-50 fight at least.
Yeah, I agree. So again, that's why you and me are flip flopping. But hey, I'm gonna stick to Wilson. I'm gonna stick to the Aussies. I think he's getting some extra motivation knowing that his countrymate is fighting a day ahead. So I think he's got extra motivation this Friday.
He also says most people voting with their heart while holding their flag, he says.
Damn. Facts.
And look, let's move on. We spent about 53 minutes on this card, which deservingly so, Chris. To me, I think this is the best card of the weekend, but we still have a lot of good action. And let's see who steals the show, Chris, because as I said, these networks are going to compete, obviously, indirectly. There's 2 fights on Saturday, and both are on the West Coast, you can say. One in Vegas, one is here in Inglewood, LA area. So, and then of course the top rank one was on Friday, which I think was a good call. I think that was a good call. I think they had they might have had that card already established and announced before the other ones, but I like the Fridays, man. Like I said, great start to the weekend, so I'm not mad at it. Especially if they're gonna, put all those names on there. Get home from work, put on the fights, eat some food, some chips, some beverages, and great. Like I said, great start to the weekend. But let's go to this one, Chris. Zurdo Ramirez against Feroz Goulamirian. Chris, and I struggle with that one. I'm not gonna lie. Unknown opponent. I don't know much about him. I know he's the cruiserweight champion. First fight here in the U.S. Man, what can we expect? They're fighting here in Inglewood. It's not the Forum. It's the side venue. I think it's like the YouTube Theater, or I don't know what it's called. Isn't the sexiest card out there. I'm sure more people will be tuned into that Amazon card, the first Amazon video card. But, this is, I think, an important fight for Golden Boy, for Zurdo. And as I said in previous podcasts, Chris, we might get a future Canelo opponent in this one if Zurdo's able to win, a Mexican battle at cruiserweight.
Yeah, no, again, at this point in Canelo's career, it's what can you offer him, and a new division, and adding to his accolades. That is something that Oscar can offer Canelo to try to entice him. That can add to his legacy. When you think of champions, you think of multiple 3, 4 time, like 4 division champions. Canelo's gonna want to up his his legacy with something like this. So that's something that Oscar could offer him. So of course, he's already fighting Munguia, so there's no narrative of he's not fighting Mexican fighters. So that's enticing. And of course, the money's gonna come. That the Mexican people is gonna pay to see this kind of fight, even though Zurdo did lose already. To be bold, Canelo lost too, so there's no shame in that one. So yeah, that's definitely a fight that could happen down the line, down the future. We'll see if Zurdo can take this belt from. I'm not even gonna try to say the name, Gio. I'm not even gonna butcher myself trying, but don't know too much about this opponent. On paper, you would think a guy like Zurdo, that's more known, should take a win. But again, you never know. We don't know too much about his opponent. We've seen guys like Julio Cesar Chavez, go up in a division, with guys that are not very known, and boom, they just get dismantled. So again, I don't know too much of this guy, but in my opinion, Zurdo should handle him. But again, we'll see. We'll see if this guy is any good. So again, nothing's written in stone. But if, like you said, if Zurdo is able to pick up a belt, very interesting. Golden Boy has something to entice Canelo.
Yes, sir. H Money in the building. He says salute. Salute to H Money. Derek's saying we got fights starting tomorrow till Sunday. And then he also says I couldn't put money on the main event for a reason. It's a true 50-50, he says. Big Bro says Canelo can go up to take his cruiserweight belt and make more history, he says. And then H Money adding Sugar Ray Murataya, future world champion fight Friday. He called out Shakur. Yeah, we touched on that card earlier, and I am rocking a sponsor shirt, Puro Golpe. Shout out to them too. They sponsored our show for a while. Good people, very humble people, and they work in silence, Chris. They're out there working, and I think that if there's a few fighters that you can say who are coming up like Ray, who you can say guarantee they're going to be world champions. Ray's winning the world title. Like, that's just a guarantee. It's sooner or later, but it's going to happen. You can't say that about many guys with less than 20 fights. So, definitely exciting contender, you can say now, Chris. He's top 10 at 135.
Yeah, no, he's definitely top 10. You can see, the crispness in his shots and his skills, the balance, it's all there, the athleticism. And again, he's fighting this guy that Arnold just defeated earlier this year. So, like Rip Bro said, like, these guys have to come and, fight better opponents. And this guy, I think he fought Devin Haney in 2019, lost to Devin Haney by decision. But again, it just shows you the guys that Raymond wants to fight. He's like, I want to fight this guy that fought this guy. So again, you kind of already see the blueprint there. It's only a matter of time before he knocks at a world title holder. So yeah, man, I'm excited to see him make a statement. Come Friday.
I like the nickname. It's Sugar Ray Murataya. They say, what do you think about Murataya versus Core Stevenson? Let me tell you this, man. I think that fight's gonna happen later down the road. But let me tell you this. Off camera, we spoken to his team, to his dad, who's his trainer. They want all the top dogs. Like, they want them now. They're not afraid. They're not saying, oh, we're gonna play it smart. No, they want them now, and they're confident that they can win. So that's all I can say. And this is off camera. On camera, a lot of guys say a lot of things, but when you have real conversations with people and you see the confidence, that gives me confidence that they want these fights, and they're going to make these fights happen eventually.
Yeah, and eventually, like, these guys will not be able to deny them. As Raymond gets up in the ranks, as he gets closer to those top 3 positions, and as he becomes a mandatory, it's going to happen. And of course, these people might, you hear that narrative. Well, you don't got no followers, or what? You don't got no fan base. Hey, man, I'm number 1 contender. And that's where the pressure comes from the organizations, and they gotta make it happen. But again, like you said, Gio, Raymond's the real deal. He's the goods, and again, it doesn't hurt that he's a humble kid. Doesn't need all that fanfare or that attention. He just, he does all the work in that ring. So, dude, again, I can't wait. And I agree with you. He's a champion and waiting.
Yeah, and look, he has everything: power, the IQ. He's a very smart fighter. The athleticism. The athleticism, I think, is probably right now his underrated, feature. I guess you can call strength. He fought a lot of those fights not even healthy, Chris. So that's all I can say. We can't say much, but he won a lot of those hard fights not even at 100%. So, this guy's ceiling is gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be crazy to see. He really has it all.
And I was just gonna say, Joe, he's like doing the opposite that Ryan is. And hopefully Golden Boy ain't listening to us, man. Don't revoke our credentials. But dude, like, everything that Ryan is doing. People call it good publicity. No such thing as bad publicity. But man, like this guy Raymond is the opposite. He doesn't post nothing up. He's in the gym training. He's also a barber. He'd be cutting hair on the side. Like this kid's just busy and just focused, and none of that nonsense going on online. It's all work. So again, you cannot bet against a guy like that.
They forced him to get on Instagram, Chris.
For real.
When we met him, I don't think he had posted in years, and his brother and the people around him were like, man, you gotta start posting things, man. You're out here fighting on ESPN. He had a couple thousand followers. I don't know how many he has now, probably 15, 20,000, but they literally forced him to go on there and post at least some pictures of him, winning. So this guy does not care about that stuff. He's all about fighting and all about winning. So yeah, man, it's an exciting. He's gonna get a knockout this weekend. Let's just put it like that.
Dude, I think one time, I think he said on the podcast, I think he posted something, and then like all these comments, you see all these people going like,
yeah,
Raven, like, are you for real? Like, you never post nothing, And then I think he told us later, like, that was one of my somebody posted something, but it was just so out of character. But I mean, that's funny. You could see all the love that he gets from people. That people really gravitate to him. He's a good kid, hard worker, and again, that's the kind of guy that reaches that championship status. So it's only a matter of time, and man, I can't wait for it to be against one of those big names right now at 135.
Big Bro says he likes Camarón versus Shakur and Morataya versus Vaquero for that WBO belt. He says Morataya stops him.
Damn.
He says, meanwhile, Queen Rye on social media talking about giving out free BBLs. Man, he's still wilding, Chris.
God.
He's still wilding. He's still out there.
Man, that is wild. Do you think it's all trolling, Joe? Is that good publicity? Is it just trolling? What do you think it is now?
I don't know, man. I don't. I stopped paying attention. I'm not gonna lie. I stopped paying attention. But anyway, man, we were talking Zurdo Ramirez. Let's get back on topic. Zurdo Ramirez. Here you see how he's coming into the fight. 32 years old, 45-1. That lost to Bivol. 30 KOs, 6'2.5", big guy. Makes sense to fight at the higher divisions. He defeated Joe Smith Jr., which I think is a very good fight. That's a good fight. Joe Smith has a few fights, but he's lost to the top dogs. He's lost to Bivol. He's lost to Beterbiev. He now lost to Zurdo. I can't remember what that fourth loss came to. He has 5 losses now. Who was it? Here, we're looking at it right now. Beterbiev, Bivol, Suleiman Barrera. Yeah, man, this guy's he's lost to the top dogs in that division, man. So to me, that was a good win. At 168, sort of didn't do much, man. Let's be honest. 168, 175. We're still waiting for that big moment. I feel like for Zurdo, even though he already has 46 pro fights, and here we see his opponent, Armenian Arsen Goulamirian, 27-0, 19 KOs. Nationality, it says France. Birthplace Armenia. Doesn't even have his age on here. I don't see it. Even BoxRec doesn't know him, Chris.
BoxRec. Oh man, again, it's yeah. I think Gilberto Ramirez, a nice guy. I interviewed him before. Good guy. Good fighter. Again, I just feel like he's been very protected for a big portion of his career, and when he finally came against like a true boxer, he was shut out. So again, hopefully his size doesn't overcome it. Again, I would like for him to pick up a belt, get some hardware, get some confidence, and try to entice Canelo. Again, there's better fights out there for Canelo, but hey, again, it's something that might entice Canelo at this point of his career.
Yeah, and look, let me say, this is what stands out to me here. His opponent, they call him Feroz, right? He hasn't fought since 2022, Chris. November 2023. 2022. He took all of 2023 off. So we'll see if that affects him. It looks like a fight that's very, very winnable for Zurdo.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me a little bit of that Anthony Joshua versus what's his name? I want to say Chris Martin, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Charles Martin, was it? Charles? I
Yeah,
forget his name, but yeah.
where the other guy has a belt, but it's like you're pretty much just selling it. I'm sure this guy Arson is getting good money, man, and of course he's gonna want to try to keep his belt, maximize on this opportunity. But let's be real, if he doesn't have the fundamentals that boxers at this level have, he's gonna lose his belt. Maybe not by knockout, but by decision. If Surdo's able to knock this guy out, then maybe Surdo's gonna start thinking about heavyweight ranks at that point. But yeah, again, it's an interesting fight, and again, as a Mexican, faithful Mexican fan, we've never had somebody this big, up in those weights, So hey, this is an interesting time. So we'll see what Zurdo does come Saturday.
Yeah, let's take a look at the undercard here. Not much, Chris. Alexis Rocha is on there, as we said last time. He just, re-signed with Golden Boy, and our good friend of the show, our boy Joel Iriarte, back at it again, Chris. He just fought, let me see the exact date, March 16th, and he's fighting 14 days after his pro debut, Chris. Old school right here. Old school.
Yeah, he mentioned after the fight, he's like, hey, they might call me back. He didn't take a whole lot of damage, so it's, in a sense, keep busy, keep padding that record. I feel like he had some anxious nerves in that first fight, but he did what he needed to do, got the guy out. But I know he's gonna do much better this fight. So, I'm sure you're gonna get a chance to catch him, Gio, and hopefully get some good footage. But yeah, this kid has a big ceiling. Super talented, 17-time amateur and national champ. So again, it's just about adjusting to the pro games now.
Yeah, and I'll be there. I'll be there on Saturday, Chris, in Inglewood, 10 minutes away from me. So I'll be there. And that's the great thing about being there, right? You had the inside scoop already. You told me, hey, that he's probably going to be on that card too, so be ready, But yeah, another guy, guaranteed champion, Chris, when they announced that Golden Boy had signed Julio, if you go on the Golden page, on the Golden Boy Instagram page, all the comments, they were like, oh man, this guy's gonna be a champion, this guy's gonna be a champ, from trainers, from pro boxers. As I stated last week, he was more recently doing sparring with Arnold Barboza. He sparred all the guys at RGBA, around his weight class. So this guy's ready for the pros, and not really surprised that he got the call again, because that first fight, easy money, got the KO, and 14 days later he'll be fighting again.
Yeah, I'm gonna request Joel. I just seen the box rate that you pulled up, Gio.
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask him if he could crop where we first interviewed him over there in Bakersfield. I'll be like, yo, bro, we gotta put that one on. But no, again, he's got a huge ceiling. Can't wait for him to continue that knockout streak. I'm gonna put a little bit of pressure. I think he's gonna get continuous knockouts. Until he gets to double digits. No pressure there, but it's only because I know how good he is.
Yeah, for sure. Big Bro says he should fight in the Fresno card. That's April 27th, just announced. He said that's this closer from home in a month. Yeah, and yeah, that's in Fresno, April 27th. Jose Ramirez is going to be on that one, and then also Virgil Ortiz Jr. is going to be on that one as well.
Give me a second. Big Bro wants to schedule him for 6 fights, 7 fights. How many fights? 9 fights this year? All right, cool. All right.
One a month.
No,
one a month. He already got 2 this month. We'll cut him some slack. One a month, Chris. One a month.
One a month. No, but again, this kid has a huge ceiling. Good kid, just like Raymond. Just very disciplined kids. No nonsense, no drama. In my opinion, outside that square circle. So that's the kind of fighters that make it to the top.
All right. Well, there you have it. That fight is also Saturday, March 30th. The Zone. Main event, I'm guessing maybe 9 p.m. We'll see how quick they get us out of there, Chris. As I said, not too much on that fight, but of course, I believe the main event of Saturday will be Tszyu, the other Aussie, man. Two Aussies fighting on the same weekend. We might get two champs. Two guys coming out as champs that weekend, Chris. It'll be a big day, a big weekend for Australia if that happens. But Tszyu against Sebastian Fundora. And then also we got Rollies against Pitbull on Amazon's first show, pay-per-view. We haven't talked much on Rollies and Cruz. Maybe we could start there.
Man, that's a good fight, man. Regardless if you like Rollies or not, or not big on Cruz, it's a good fight. I like both these dudes. I like their, let's start with Rollies. This guy's a character. He's unorthodox. He's funny. Like he's always cracking jokes. He's always talking smack. He's good for boxing, in my opinion. Yeah, he took a loss against Tank, but look how he bounced back. He shrugged it off. He's like, on to the next guy. He picks a guy that's recognizable and that's dangerous. So and Cruz, man, what is not to like about this little guy? This guy just, for his size, he's a beast. He's a monster. So again, this is a great co-main event. It might steal the show, it might not, but I just know that fight. I don't see that one going the distance. So I'm really excited for that fight, Gio. What are your thoughts on that?
Hey, we know you're the biggest Isaac Cruz fan. Like, I don't know anyone who's a bigger fan than Pitbull Cruz. Somehow, Chris will find a way to squeeze his name into the podcast, man. But hey, Chris, this is your time to shine. You can talk about it nonstop. He is co-headlining this show, Las Vegas. This is a big fight for him. I wouldn't say the biggest, but probably his biggest. I don't know what we want to call it, opportunity. We knew against Tank, he was a big underdog, even though he fought very well in that fight. I think this is his big moment to shine here. Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Let's see how he's coming into this fight against Rolly Romero. Pitbull Cruz, 25 wins, 17 knockouts, 2 defeats, 1 draw, 25 years old. He's young, Chris. He's young. Es el DF, listed at 5'4", Pitbull. He's coming off, he's gotten some big wins, Chris. Like, he's had, I think the first one that really put him on the map was this one right here, Diego Magdaleno. He stopped him in 1 round. And then after that, he got a lot of hype. He also defeated Francisco Vargas. Not sure how he didn't stop him, but, that earned him a shot at Gervonta Davis in 2021. Lost in that fight. You see the scorecards, nothing too crazy though. 113, 115, 2 judges. 112, 116. So, he had a good outing. He had a very good fight, I would say, both offensively and defensively. It wasn't enough to win, but that map definitely, I would say, took him to the next level as far as fans getting to know who he was and kind of finding out that, hey, this guy can hang, at that level. After that, Yuriorkis Gamboa won by TKO. I mean, who hasn't defeated Yuriorkis, Chris? Man, messed up. They've sacrificed that guy to everybody. Got a couple other wins. A split decision, his last one, Giovanni Cabrera. Very boring fight. I forget what undercard this was on. But that was let's look it up. That was a very boring fight from what I remember. A lot of people weren't happy. Oh, that was a Spence Crawford fight. And then, that was his last fight, July 2023. And now he's fighting Rollies, who's 15-1. Both have lost to Tank, Chris.
Yeah, both have lost to Tank, but one of those guys, gave a better account of himself. So, I gotta ask you, Gio, who do you favor in this fight? Is it a obvious pick? Is it closer to 55-45? Who do you favor in this fight?
I don't think it's a given for me, man. Let me tell you why. Look, Rolly Romero, 15-1, 13 knockouts, 28 years old. He's a few years older, quite a few inches taller as well. What weight is this fight at? So this is at 140. Okay, so that's the part that concerns me for El Pitbull, right? Under 40 pounds. Rolly coming into this fight, struggled against Barroso. Still don't know how he got a stoppage win in that one. I mean, that was blasphemous. Got dropped in that one. And then, of course, TKO'd against Gervonta before that. And then before that, really nothing that stands out except the robbery against Marinez in 2023, right? So, with that being said, I think 140 advantage definitely has to be Rolly. All right. Well, you reading the comments out here or what, Chris? Oh, Chris froze. Oh, that's look, I thought he was laughing at something this whole time. Chris just froze up. We'll try to get him back. Did this one freeze too? No, this one's alive. The other screen froze. Chris, look at I'm gonna just leave it up there like that. I'm not even gonna change it. Look, this guy looks like he's having the time of his life. But let me see if I can fix it up here real quick. But anyway, in the meantime, I think the there you go. I think the advantage has to be Rolly, man. 140, he has a size advantage. He's gonna have the power advantage. You know, I mean, I just think that he's a guy who doesn't throw many punches. I think Isaac Cruz can outwork him, but man, I don't know. I'm still debating.
Yeah, no, for me, I think, and you bring up a good point. 140 obviously favors Rolly. I just, I just can't bet against Vegeta, man. Isaac Cuba Cruz is the Vegeta of boxing, and this
Oh man, this what's going on, man? So come on, man.
those fundamentals, man. You know, come on. I like Rolly's. I like his awkward style. He reminds me a lot of Mayorga in many aspects, but I cannot discount people, man. I just feel like he's gonna catch him, even though Rolly's is bigger, stronger in that sense. I just think he doesn't have the fundamentals. He doesn't have, the balance. I think Pitbull is gonna catch it with something big. And again, the 140 does favor Rollies, and he's gonna throw his own set of punches. He's gonna catch Cruz, but I think Little Cruz has a good chin, and I think it's gonna be lights out for Rolly Romero.
Whoo. Man, well let me read Big Bro's comment. He says, the same Cruz who looked terrible his last fight and couldn't KO an old bandido, who Rayo knocked out, and a year later, had no real elite power at 35, even less at 40. Even with how flawed and limited Rolly's himself is, Rolly got the size and power advantage, he's saying. Uh, Derek laughing because you were cheesing. You were cheesing hard, man. That was crazy. I thought you just got stuck. I was like, man, what happened? What is he laughing at?
I got stunned.
Big Bro also says Cuban trainer Salas now with Rollies too. He's a real coach. Seeing clips of Rollies moving his head and punching. Salas teaching him some fundamentals. He also says Rolly's gonna clip him to the top of the head. And saying Vegeta ain't a soft chihuahua, Chris.
Oh man, I'm either gonna get a bunch of these upsets right, or I'm taking L's all weekend. No, but again, I don't know if you look at the odds. Gio, Pitbull Cruz is a favorite, -280.
Wow.
Yeah, surprising.
Wow.
I feel like it'd be closer, but yeah, Pitbull is a favorite.
That's
I think a lot of people are just favoring, those fundamentals, even though he is a smaller guy. Uh, again, it's just I don't know. I think obviously people seen Orlando Romero get knocked. He doesn't have the soundest defense. I'm sure you could be doing a little bit of head movement, but you're not going to learn that in over 2-3 months. So again, I got to favor Pitbull Cruz, even with the size disadvantage. I think he's got too much dog in him.
man. Let's go to the. I think I have my prediction ready, but let's go to the poll and see what they're saying, Chris, because that was shocking to me that Pitbull is a favorite, especially by 280. That's not a crazy favorite, but that's the favorite nonetheless. Like I thought it was gonna be closer than that. This fight is at 140, but yeah, let's pull up the poll. Wow, here you have it. 250 votes, 74% say Cruz, 26% say Rolly.
Yeah, there you go, man. Again, I respect Rolly. I think, like I said before, he's good for boxing. He's not. He's more of a fighter than a boxer in the whole sense of the word. Again, like I said, he reminds me of my older guy where he just wants to fight, man. He just wants to fight anybody, win, lose, draw. He just wants to fight. So again, when you have somebody like that, in a very lucrative division, which is the lightweight, you're bound to get, these kinds of fights. So again, it's a good, very, very good co-main event. Could have been a main event any other time. So again, shout out to these two guys. It's gonna be a great fight. Might steal the show. So yeah, again, I'm all for Pitbull Cruz, but hey, Rollies, you're a friend of the show, buddy. Give a good account of yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with man, this is a tough one because obviously Rolly, he isn't the greatest of boxers, man. He isn't the greatest of boxers, but I don't think Isaac Cruz is either. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go Rolly. I'm gonna, I'm gonna go with Rolly.
Hey.
I think he gets a knockout.
Okay, yeah.
I
I don't
think he
think
gets
he.
a
I think
knockout.
that's the only way he can win. I don't see him getting a decision. If he does, it's got to be by knockout. Obviously, he's got the power advantage of 140, the size. It's going to be something that Isaac Pitbull Cruz doesn't see coming. But again, yeah, man, I just can't. It's hard for me to favor, betting against Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Again, I just think he's just more sound. They're both dogs. They both got that dog in them, but it's more fundamentals.
The vast majority of people saying Cruz. And look, going back to the undisputed fight, Chris, the purses, I couldn't find anything, but I did find something interesting. When Jose Ramirez fought against Richard Comey, that was in Fresno. Jose Ramirez made 1 million. It says Comey made 269,000. Seniesa made 249,000 for that. So $250,000. And it says Raymond Murataya made 40,000. This was last year, May 2023. So hey, Seniesa got a good bag. Hopefully they get paid for this one too.
I mean, obviously, as each fight ascends, the more importance, it's they're at least. I mean, I don't know the amount, but they gotta be making. I mean, I guess we have to guess that Cinesa's making more money, right, Gio?
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I think
Okay,
it's in the
so
U.S. It's supposed to be her backyard. She's considered the champion. She's the more familiar face here. Yeah, I would think so.
I would guess maybe she's making at least for 400K minimum. And I don't know Yoka's bags, but based on that, she got to make at least 150K. I mean, I don't want to put numbers out there, but that sounds about right. But again, hopefully they both get much bigger bags than the ones I'm throwing out there. Again, it's worthy of being a main event on itself. Again, for all four belts in women's division, the most sought after run out fight in women's boxing. So again, if this fight is competitive, as many people hope, they can make it. They can run it back. So again, yeah, I'm excited for this weekend.
Yeah, and let's go to some comments here, man. Interesting stuff here in the comments. Derek says he didn't think about the weight until we said it. Might put something on Rolly. Man, I think Cruz should be the slight favorite. Uh, but yeah, 140, man. That's different than 135. You're gonna get a stronger Rolly, a bigger Rolly. We'll see. I'm not a big fan of Cruz fighting at 140, man.
Yeah,
I think that's a little too big for him. He's only about 5'5", 5'4", 5'4", I think. He was smaller than Gervonta Davis. Don't forget that. So, man, that's tough. Big Bro says Rolly in 8 or 9. And then let's see what Derek said. I can't see here on my screen. Let me look it up on my phone. He said they both got to be making decent money. going back to the purses. But yeah, look, I'm going Rolly KO. You're sticking with Pitbull. Did you say decision or KO?
I must
You
say,
said
I must
KO,
say
didn't you?
decision.
Are you gonna switch
I
it
think
up? Don't make me
I
rewind
must
this.
say decision.
Woo.
That boy is a big boy, man. He's a big boy, and I agree. I don't think Pitbull carries his power as well as other guys. So I'm gonna say Pitbull by decision.
All right, Derek saying Romero by KO is plus 500. Wow.
Damn, this is gonna start turning into the gambling show, Gio.
Oh man. Cruz by KO minus 110. Wow.
Wait, say that again.
So Derek says Cruz by KO minus 110.
Dang, they're expecting a knockout.
Wow.
Get my wallet out. Damn.
Yeah. But yeah, I know we didn't talk much about this fight, but yeah, I think that's super interesting. And then also the people's takes on this 74% Cruz. I'm a bit shocked by that. I'm not gonna lie, but man, I think both guys can hurt each other. I think playing these scenarios in my head, I see Romero as the more likely one to hurt Isaac Cruz. I keep saying 140, 140, 140 because I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah. And at the end of the episode, we gotta recap everybody's predictions just so we could hold the fans accountable, man. We've been getting some slanted results, man. This for this fight weekend.
Yeah. So, woo. All right, man. But yeah, let's go to the. Did want to discuss one fight before we move on to the main event because there's a very interesting fight on here. Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys. In this event, and I think this one's flying under the radar. You know, if you guys are thinking about buying the pay-per-view, Erislandy Lara. Just joking, Chris, man. Nobody cares about that fight. Erislandy Lara is fighting for the WBA World Middleweight title against Michael Sarafa. I mean, to me, not relevant. You know, obviously we have Brian Mendoza against Sergey Boychuk for the WBC interim. That's a really good fight, but this is the one right here, man. Let me see if I can highlight it for you guys. This one right here is a good fight, and I am actually very, very surprised that these guys are fighting each other at this stages of their career. Kermel Moten, the Mayweather prospect, against Anthony Cuba. Cuba undefeated. He's from the LA area. I've seen him train many, many times, Chris. I think I've seen him at the Leo Santa Cruz gym, and then also I don't know if he still does, but he used to do strength and conditioning with our friend Andy Aguilar. So look, he's 7-0, 3 KOs. And Kermel Moten is only 2-0 right now. So 17 years old, you see it there. I think this is a good fight that I'm not even sure if it's going to be televised. We might be able to catch it on YouTube for free, Chris, if they're going to do that. But that's a good card. That's a good fight. Sorry, Elijah Garcia is also on there. Julio Cesar Martinez, and then as I said, Brian Mendoza. So a decent card, Chris.
Yeah, no, like you mentioned, those two guys. Obviously, we know that. So with the money team, he's one of the highest rated, prospects in the world. And yeah, the guy you mentioned, usually these are guys that, if at best you see them fight, maybe like double-digit fights in. Yeah, it's happening a little early. And maybe they want to make a statement. Maybe the guys over there in Cuba, like they think they can make a statement here. I wouldn't favor anybody very early on against anybody from the Mayweather team. So again, it's a tough assignment for Cuba, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he can make a good account of himself. But yeah, man, I'm excited for that the other one that you mentioned, Gio, and Noza versus Whitaker.
Yeah.
And this is a fight that came together because the main event fell through. Things kind of get moved around. I was able to catch up with Mendoza, 2 weeks ago, and he kind of hinted at that he was, you know, just like Arnold, just saying the same sentiments. If somebody pulls out, I'm ready. I'm in shape. I've talked to the promoters. I'm there to step in, and this is exactly what happens. Payday for him. Good against a good opponent. A fight that could catapult him back to a title contention. No easy fight. So this is a great fight. And again, even though we did say that Tom Reg ESPN had the stat card, this is second to that. Really good names in this card, and again, this is a good little treat before May. So I'm excited for this weekend, Joe.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I did want to, show you guys this because, man, look, Boachuk, obviously a big puncher. 23 wins, 23 knockouts. Lone defeat to Brandon Adams. Chris, I don't know if you remember, we're doing a live podcast and we had it, we were playing this fight just on the side and we had a crazy live reaction because Brandon stopped him. I mean, that was a tremendous left to a KO, if I remember correctly. That fight was in Puerto Rico. But that's in his only defeat. I mean, he's knocked everybody else out. Sergey Bohachuk. So, Brian Mendoza, once again, very tough fight. You spoke to him about that Fundora knockout. That was a fight before Tszyu, and he gave you guys gave you some insight too on Tszyu about what makes him dangerous, a dangerous fighter. And look at Mendoza. Look, Fundora, Jason Rosario. He got some good victories. He lost against Jesus Alejandro Ramos. He's fought some good opponents. Lost to Tszyu. So this is gonna be a very good fight, man. Mendoza, 22-3, 16 knockouts. Chris, yeah, this is gonna be fireworks right here.
Yeah, you kind of have to favor Mendoza just because he has that momentum of fighting. You mentioned the Fundora knockout, fighting a guy like Tszyu. Even though he lost, he got that experience. So, even though he has more losses than Sergey, he's got just that momentum. A bit of that confidence. Going just fighting the very best at 154. Sergey is still a very good fighter. He was winning that fight against our boy Brandon until he got caught, and it was almost like a good knockdown that he wasn't able to respond. And Cannon Adams got that win. But again, this is a great fight. Two of the best names at 154, in my opinion. The winner of this fight definitely gets considered for a title opportunity. Whether a guy like Tszyu or a guy like Fundora sees them as just like something to stay busy until a title opportunity comes. But definitely a great fight, great co-main. And dude, I'm excited. For that one, do you want to give your prediction, Gio, or do you want to wait a little bit?
Man, I don't think I'm ready for that prediction. I'm gonna disagree. I think, and Derek actually, confirmed that Mendoza's underdog at 160. I think you would have to favor Boachuk. Like as I said, 23 wins, 23 knockouts. He had that loss in 2021. Derek says Ring City. Yeah, that was the Ring City days. I think they used to show those on NBC, NBC Sports. Big Bro saying I would take Mendoza at plus 160. If I was betting, I think I would put money on Mendoza. Oh man, but yeah, go ahead.
Wait. This one's at 160.
No, I believe this is 54 plus 160. Is Mendoza on the odds?
Okay. I was about to say he's gonna have to bust a Sergio Martinez, but no, 154. I gotta go with Mendoza, even though he's got more losses. I gotta go with him with the momentum, with the confidence. I don't. But Vucek is very dangerous. But man, I might just catch L's this weekend. I'm gonna go with Mendoza. I'm gonna go with Brian Mendoza for the decision win.
Man, I'm gonna. This is a tough one. I'm gonna agree, man. I don't think it's gonna be an easy fight. I can see him getting hurt in this one, but I think he's learned from Fundora, from Tszyu, from the Ramos loss. Man, I just think he will outbox Bochuk, and that's an upset, man. That's an upset. Obviously, I think the more relevant name as of late has been Mendoza because of those big fights, but man, it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna go with Mendoza, I think, decision.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say that Wojciech is probably in the same boat as an Oscar Valdez. Again, people were riding high on these two guys 2-3 years ago, and they take these losses, and it's almost like they got to start back at the at the end of the line. So it's a big fight for Wojciech just to get back into people's good graces for sure.
Yeah, ooh, that was a tough one, man. I wasn't ready for that. I thought you're gonna let me slide on that one, but yeah, let's go to. I mean, we gave our official Rolly Cruz predictions. I'm going Rolly KO. You're going Cruz decision. After all, Chris, decision or
It's a decision. It's a decision.
all right.
I'm not too confident on the decision though, but I'm confident in the Cruz win.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure to write these down, man. We'll make sure to write these down. But let's go to the main event, man. Let's go to the main event. Tszyu, Sebastian Fundora. We said last week, I like this fight personally. I think it's a tough fight. And, that opened the door, too, for Brian Mendoza to get on that card against Bochuk. Everybody's forgetting about Keith Thurman. I even forgot to change his name down there on that bottom text, man. I got to delete his name. Put Fundora's in there. No more Keith Thurman talk. He's out of here. He's irrelevant. He's injured. He'll be out for half a year, maybe a full year, maybe 2 years, Chris. But who cares? Right now, Tszyu is a man at 54. Let's be honest. I don't even know if Charlo's still champion or not, or he vacated all his belts. But right now, Tszyu, man, I didn't think he was going to be this good. Always difficult to live up to being the son of a legend, to the father's name, and he's done a great job, and I think he's getting better and better every single time. Right now, I think he's in my top 5 as far as exciting boxers to watch when he fights. I tune in, Chris.
No, I completely agree. I think when we first heard that Fundora was the replacement for one time, I think the first thing that we thought is like, oh, we just thought of that highlight knockout. We thought of Tszyu's power. We think of Timber. We thought of Fundora just getting laid out again. But I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw that face off, I'm like, oh dang, Fundora really is that tall. He really is that big, and he made Tszyu look small. We cannot forget Tszyu's power though. He's more than capable of hurting and dismantling Fundora, but we saw what Fundora did to Erickson Lubin. We seen what he does to smaller guys. He can put a hurt on them. So, I'm not saying that he's gonna do the same to Tszyu, but that face off at least got me a little interested. It changed up my percentages just a bit, just enough for me to convince myself that this could be somewhat of a competitive fight up until it ends. So I'm excited for this one. I'm gonna give Fundora more credit than what I had given him initially.
All right. Let's go to some comments here. We got some good comments coming in. Our boy Derek saying, Fundora has a 9-inch height advantage. No Diddy. But he's inspiring Michael Fox. So, yeah, man. Look, Fundora's a tough matchup for anybody, man. Just because of his size, But at the same time, I think he's one of the more frustrating guys to watch. Because, like, they list him at what? I think it's 6'5.5". Yep, 6'5.5". He doesn't use that to his advantage, Chris. He doesn't like to fight on the outside, which is crazy for a guy that tall. Being able to make 154 being 6'6", I mean, with shoes on. I mean, that's insane. Look, 21-1, 13 knockouts. He clearly has power. He's coming off that loss to Mendoza about a year ago. Got knocked out in the seventh, brutal knockout. Before that, he had that very uh, really good win with Lubin, beat Carlos Ocampo there in between. He's has some decent Jorge Cota, decent wins, but I don't think it's enough to beat Tim Tszyu, man. And I just think, look, you've interviewed him several times, him and his sister. You watched them train. We've been following this guy for a while. I like Fundora. I really like him. When he got knocked out, I was shocked.
Mhm.
But I just think against a guy like Tszyu, if he doesn't box from the outside, I think he has no chance. And on the other hand, if he boxes from the outside, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Tszyu to get to him. Chris, I don't know if you've ever seen a lion fight a giraffe, but this clip randomly popped up. I don't know if it was my Instagram or YouTube. This lion trying to fight a giraffe. It was trying, Chris. It was trying. It was trying to bite the giraffe's leg and hugging it, and the giraffe just kind of kicking it off of them. I think if Fundora, worked on his game and worked on that game plan, I think he could do that to Tszyu, but I don't think that's going to happen. I have Tszyu in this one. I think he wins by decision.
No, so no knockout. Oh, damn. Okay.
No knockout.
Damn. Okay. No, I completely agree that Sebastian Fundora doesn't use like those intangibles to his advantage. Like you said, the height, the reach. I mean, if I'm that tall, that rangy, that long, I'm outboxing him. I'm keeping that opponent at bay throughout the whole fight to the best of my abilities, man. I feel like Sebastian Fundora has never seen Street Fighter. If he were to see Street Fighter, you know how hard it is to fight that stretchy guy. That guy just does not let you get close. So that should be the game plan that he should be employing against a guy as dangerous as Tim Tszyu. You should not be against the ropes, should not be at close quarters. And again, that's where Tszyu, that's where he flourishes. So again, his best chance really is just to try to outbox him. Of course, easier said than done. A guy like Tim Tszyu will find a way to get in, but I mean, if you keep him at bay, he's going to absorb a lot of damage before he even gets in. But it's almost like Sebastian Fundora doesn't feel like he's, 6'5.5", with the longest arms in boxing. I think he thinks he's an inside fighter. He loves to fight on the inside. Reminds me a little bit of a Brandon, Rios type of guy that just likes to bang. That's not the game plan that's gonna get him hurt. But again, you gotta still give him some sort of a chance. He is an anomaly in boxing.
I think he forgets he's 26 years old, Chris.
Yeah.
And look at you, 29 years old, Australia. This is prime Chris, 24-0, 17 knockouts, and he has some really good momentum going on for him right now. He has that decision win against Brian Mendoza. That was in October 2023 over there in Australia. One-sided win. Carlos Ocampo, everybody has defeated that guy. 1-round KO, easy money. This was a big one right here. Tony Harrison, I would say TKO in 9. That was the first real big test for him. Before that, he fought Terrell Gaucher, Takeshi Inoue. But I think the Tony Harrison was that first big step. Can you defeat a former champion, a veteran? All those young guys have to go through those veterans. And look at the scorecards at the time of the stoppage, 77-75. It's not like he was washing them, but he hurt Harrison and he put him away. He also defeated guys like Dennis Hogan, who gave Munguia a run for his money, if you guys can remember. I think that was in Mexico, and destroyed Jeff Horn, also in Australia. But yeah, man, this is a good moment for Tim Tszyu. Like I said, I've been impressed by Timmy, so I think he'll win. I think Fundora will go 12th though. That's my official decision. Hey, decision, Tim Tszyu.
Yeah, I disagree. I think Tim Tszyu finds, the level of success the way Brian Mendoza did. Difference is I feel like Tim Tszyu will be winning rounds, unlike Brian Mendoza. I just think that Sebastian Fundora is too brave for his own right. He's gonna try to mix it in. He's gonna try to get in, and Tim Tszyu is gonna find a way to clock him with one of those big shots, and I think he's gonna hold him. And again, Tszyu is a come forward fighter, but people forget he got dropped by Gaucher, who has not as much power as a guy like Fundora. So sometimes we forget that these guys, these come forward fighters, though the Manny Pacquiaos, those kinds of guys, they can be hurt. Again, most of the time their defense is just them being super offensive. But Sebastian Fundora has a chance. But I gotta ask you, obviously we've given our predictions. What percentage of a chance do you give a guy like Sebastian Fundora in this fight?
I think he has a good chance of winning, Chris. Like I said, if he decides to box, I think he could win the fight. I'm gonna say 35%.
35%. Dang, okay.
I'm assuming you have him higher. I don't know.
And that's a good number. I was gonna say third. The first time I heard about this fight, I was gonna give like a 20%, but then I saw the size difference. I was like, okay, I gotta give him a little bit more. Man, I'm gonna say 30%. I wanna piggyback off your answer. That one feels better, but 30% chance. And again, it could be higher, like you said, Gio, if he would just box, act like you're Muhammad Ali out there, the way they say. But yeah, again, a guy like Tszyu he'll find a way to get in and break you down, and I see that happening. So Tszyu by TKO or knockout.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, man. Look, let's not forget Tszyu is not the quickest on his feet. Fundora can move around, do something that he hasn't showed us really. Man, he could get the win. Big Bro disagrees. He says 1%. 1%. He says there's levels to this. He also says only advantage Fundora has is his length. No Diddy, he says. He doesn't even use it to his advantage. And he says Fundora might get folded like a launcher. Man, well, look, Chris is saying Tszyu. I'm writing these down so we don't forget. And now he's saying Tszyu KO. I'm saying Tszyu decision. All right. So Chris, I'm gonna go over our predictions real quick. Correct me if I am wrong on any of yours. All right. You said Romero by decision. Or KO. You flip flop a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm gonna leave it. Yeah, Cruz by decision.
Mendoza by decision. Is that correct, or did you say KO?
Mendoza by decision.
Okay. Yeah. Wilson by decision. Or KO. I can't remember.
I'm gonna say KO. He cannot win a decision without Mexican faithful there. I'm gonna say KO. If he hurts him, I think he has to learn from Navarrete. Don't let him get up. Finish him. So I'm gonna say he learns from that. He knocks him out.
Yoka by decision. And Tszyu by KO.
Tszyu by KO.
All right. And on the other hand, I have Romero by KO. Rolly Romero. Not confident in that one. I got Mendoza by decision. I got Valdez by decision. Yoka by decision. And Tszyu by decision. Oh, man. No KOs for me. Rolly, don't let me down. Don't let me down, Rolly.
If you're begging your only knockout on Rollies, you're already starting off wrong. But hey.
All right. Zurdo, though. Zurdo. I think that one you said knockout as well, no? Or are you going with decision?
No, I'm going to say decision. Right. I think the other guy's too big. Never know. The other guy might be too slow. So
I'm going to go with, Zurdo KO. I'm going to go with Zurdo KO. Cruiserweight champion. Zurdo Ramirez. He might get that big Canelo payday.
You know what? I'll pick. I'm gonna say Zurdo KO too.
Oh man, look here. You see this, guys? Oh man, come on, come on, ladies and gentlemen.
Where the rev stops it, I'm gonna say TKO.
Come on, ladies and gentlemen. What is this? All right, well, look. I don't know if I have any last polls to show you guys. Let's go real quickly through. This one, I don't even think I popped this one up. But look, pause. No Diddy. Oh man, that was wild.
No Diddy.
204 votes. Tszyu. 75%, 25% for Fundora out of the 204 votes. So yeah, vast majority with Tszyu. This one I was a little surprised when I first posted this. This was posted 8 hours ago. When I first posted it, within the first couple hours, it was close. It was close. Now Tszyu has kind of taken off here in this poll, but 75% still. I would think more people would favor Tszyu, but hey, that's right around our percentages, Chris. We're giving Fundora about a 30-35% chance of winning. So it kind of adds up if you do the math. But and then, of course, you see the other ones there that we already went over. Cruz, 74%. Romero, 26%. Some more votes still coming in. Look at that size difference, Chris. No Diddy. Hey, Derek started it, as Big Bro said.
Who started this?
Derek started. Shout out to PA, man. PA in the building. Hey, man. 1 a.m. over there, I believe, if my math is correct. Shout out to you guys, man.
Is he saying no Diddy as because of P Diddy?
And what do you think, Chris?
Oh, man, shout out to freaking Devin Haney.
Hey, no, a non-shout out. It should be a non-shout out to Devin Haney. The opposite of a shout out. Man, Chris, it's barely 10:17 here on the West Coast, and you're falling asleep over there on the job. Oh man. Y'all are wild. But yeah, let's go right here. Look at that, man. Looking down at him, the tower, we're in Inferno. There goes that big card. Yoka still 27%. Estrada 73%. Valdez, man, look, Wilson not getting any love from the Against the Ropes boxing audience here on YouTube, man. And then, hey, this was a good one to cap off this whole conversation. I think we're about 2 hours in. Poll from last week after we got off air, I posted this. Is Keith Thurman done? 35 years old. 742 votes. 19% are saying no, he can still make a comeback. 81% are saying he is done.
That's straight. I'm sure a lot of people saw this clip. It was on Pro Box TV where your boy said that Keith Thurman he finally found out what it feels like to be the old man's club. You train, you can't train as hard the way you used to in your 20s. So I think it was your boy Paul Malignaggi that said that, hey, Keith Thurman's done. Those injuries are not the same when you're in your 20s. At 35, like it's not the same. So he's like, it's time for retirement. So yeah, man, I like Keith one-time Thurman, but I think the retirement was a wrong move. He should have finished off 2-3 big fights in his early 30s, and now I think it's too late.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think it might be too late too. I mean, that's what most people are saying.
No Diddy.
Devin and Meek love them some Diddy, says Derek. What's up with them Philly boys, man? Meek Millie. Or all right, what else do we have here? Flip-flopping more than flapjack on a Sunday morning, says Big Bro. With your picks. Tank, who literally picked up to greet him on a video. Tank basically kissed AB in a video I see, says Derek. Whatever floats their votes. Hey man, let's talk AB, Chris. Did you hear about his comeback fight?
Against who?
So they're saying since Blair Cobbs, they're saying has left Golden Boy, and they're gonna make, obviously Don King is with AB. They're saying that fight is gonna happen. That's all I've been seeing on Blair the Flair's Instagram. It looks like it's official. I don't know. We will have to confirm that next podcast. But Blair the Flair, woo, against AB.
Hey, those are two of the most entertaining guys in boxing right now. So you throw in the greatest promoter, to ever grace a sport. I'm not mad at it. I'm for it.
Yeah, man. Hey, I know Blair he's been on our show a couple times. You've done multiple interviews with him also in person. We know he's been calling AB since forever. So, yeah, entertaining as Big Bro says. The trash talk will be next level. But yeah, we'll confirm that. It looks like if it's official. Derek says he'll pay for it.
those East Coast boys, man, will pay for it. Man, yeah, but no, again, that's a good fight. I want to see what AB's got left, if anything. But he's got more than Keith Thurman, I'll tell you that much.
Oh man, I believe that. But anyway, yeah, let's get out of here, man. About 2 hours. We haven't done a show this long in a while. It's getting late on the East Coast, so we'll keep our brothers from the East Coast in mind. We'll let you guys go to sleep, get some rest. Shout out to all the people from Australia as well, man. Whether you're watching this live or on repeat on the replay, could be a big weekend for Australia, man. Do not sleep on Liam Wilson. Obviously, you can't sleep on Tszyu, and we'll see if Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez can obtain that cruiserweight title, make history, become the first Mexican to do that. I think that's enticing part, and we'll see how the attendance is and the atmosphere and all that. We know it's LA. People always get up for those fights. Big boxing fans here in LA. So, great weekend, man. Great weekend. Good undercards, top rank, kicking us off on Friday. ESPN Plus. Man, can't wait. Can't wait till next Tuesday for the next podcast.
Before we get out of here, Gio, I just gotta say, I know we only gave 77 Fundora, a small chance, 30 to 35%. But let's say that he is able to pull up this upset. Would it be the upset of the year thus far?
For Fundora, oh man, well, I can't think of many upsets recently. I mean, it's been 3 months of action. Was that heavyweight card last year, or was it this year, where Parker defeated Deontay? Oh, that was last year, right? That was last year. So yeah, I think he might have the upset of the year so far. But look, I think it can be a close fight. I wouldn't be shocked. Let's see if Tszyu can perform under the brightest of lights. He's been asking for that American market, that American attention. He wanted to come over here. He wanted to come to Vegas. Now he's here. Let's see if he can shine. But yeah, I would say so.
I would say if Fundora knocks Tszyu out, that would be my upset of the year thus far. Not just a win, but a knockout. That would be statement. I don't see it happening, but just wanted to throw it out there.
Big Bro says big time. Does not believe in Fundora. And then last comment here by Derek, always keeping us, in the loop with all the stuff going out there in PA. He says Don King signed these two brothers recently out of Harrisburg, PA. Keep an eye on them. Antonio Perez and Angel Perez. All right.
Don King signed them?
He's still out here putting in work, Don. Man, that guy's like 197 years old, man.
I was gonna say these boys walked out of the house with $20. They came back with like $3 already. But but hey, man, Don King's he's a legend, man. We'll leave it at that.
Hey, they come out like, man, how do we leave owing Don King money? That's why we came here to sign a contract. Now we owe him money. Hey, we got to get Don on the podcast, man. We got to get Don King on the podcast.
Man,
just watch your belongings. Watch your belongings. We might have to do it over Zoom just to be safe,
We walk on the podcast like signing a contract with them. Like, when did that happen?
Hey, if it's in person, I'm not bringing a wallet, man.
Dude, you're gonna walk out like, dude, why'd you come out with the briefcase? You're like, hello. But yeah, man, let's get out of here again. It's gonna be a great weekend of boxing. Friday, Saturday, doubleheader on Saturday. Tszyu, dude, nothing but big names. I can't wait for this weekend.
Derek says no. Do not bring Don King on. But yeah, man, thank you guys for keeping the chat lit. We'll be back next Tuesday. Obviously, a ton of boxing to talk about. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Glad Derek was able to catch it live. I know he'd be in the comments, you know, catching the replays and all that stuff. But yeah, thank all you guys for tuning in. I know it's getting a little late, 2-hour show, but yeah, we appreciate you guys tuning in. And man, a lot of boxing this weekend, man. I can't wait.
Peace.
Let's go, mates.
Vámonos.
Watch what you say, Derek, man. Don is everywhere. Don got eyes everywhere.
Don and Diddy gonna work together next.
Oh, man. No Diddy. Let's get out of here. Let's go, mates. Shout out to all the Aussies, man. Salute.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Francisco Gallo Estrada. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas. Un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Huge shout out to Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time on y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.